What's up, everybody? I'm Metal Nick,
I'm Jeff Grindstoffer.
and welcome to episode number 104 of Vinyl Bang, where today we are going to discuss probably one of the most influential and popular metal bands that is not named Black Sabbath. Today, we are talking about Metallica.
I figured we'd take a different approach for an episode this time. We were going back and forth about episode ideas and this and that. We were just like, dude, let's just start doing episodes about an entire band. Feature a couple of bands here and there. And of course, there were several that we could talk about between the various collections that Nick and I have. But we were just like, dude, let's start off with Metallica.
That was a
Like,
great
dude,
idea.
fucking, it's a no-brainer. I mean, if you're going to talk about a popular band or somebody that's been so influential throughout the
Mhm.
years, and they have their highs and their lows, and this and that, but to say that they're not one of the most popular, not even so much popular, but like one of the most influential bands since
Yeah,
the 80s, it's like,
absolutely,
so.
absolutely. No, they rose to a level that anybody who starts a band wants to get into, and fortunately for them, they wrote music that sticks, that's uh, timeless classics, basically. And I think you and I, for a while, we were discussing just doing an episode strictly on Ride the Lightning, because almost every guest that we've had on our show will talk about Ride the Lightning. And
Mm.
although it's not my favorite Metallica album, and we'll get there when we get there, Albert. Um, but I'll talk about that beef I have with Albert when we get there. But yeah, there's we originally discussed talking about a couple death metal bands, but Jeff, you came up with the idea. Let's do Metallica, because I think they've got longevity. They put out quite a few records, and then there's stuff that you got to be a member of a certain club to get some of these records. And I know Jeff Wink Wink is in that club. So when we get there, we get there. But let's start off. Actually, I was going to start off with Jeff. Why don't you start off with this record store day exclusive that you got?
Yeah, I really should have did some research to see exactly when this came out. But Record Store Day, it was 19 or 20, I think. It's been 5 or 6 years since I did this. But one of the Record Store Day releases several years back was a re-release, a repress, or a reshell, I guess, of a cassette. I don't know what the fuck you call a re-release of a cassette. But Record Store Day released the Metallica demo "No Life Till Leather," and my new camera is not as sharp as what I thought it would be, but oh well. So here is Metallica's "No Life Till Leather" that features Dave Mustaine on guitars, the original lineup. The track list for this is "Hit the Lights," "The Mechanics," "Motor Breath," "Seek and Destroy," "Metal Militia," "Jump in the Fire," and "Phantom Lord." Just fucking dude, this is so cool. It's a really cool thing to have, and of course, it's not an original cassette, but still very cool to have. And yeah, since we're starting from the beginning, I figured that would be a good place to start off with the Metallica "No Life Till Leather" demo cassette.
Practically all the good songs off of the first record. And
Yeah.
speaking of which, we're going there. Kill 'Em All, their debut album, which was just phenomenal. It was
Hmm.
a groundbreaking record that I think a lot of people, I think you and I probably have the same one, right? The
The
Walmart
Walmart
exclusive.
exclusive. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I remember the first time hearing "Hit the Lights," and I just was like, "Holy shit!" Like, I think "Seek and Destroy" is like one song that they play almost at every show, unless there's back to back night shows. But we both have the
The Blood
Marble
Red.
Red. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, beautiful. And praise them for choosing Walmart to put these out, because it makes it easy for us. So I don't have to drive all the way to Frederick or Baltimore or DC to go to a record store. Thankfully, there's a Walmart right next to where I work, and I don't think I got this from there though. But this was a killer fucking record, very influential. I believe they originally wanted to name it "Metal Up Your Ass,"
Hmm.
and what Metal Force didn't want to fucking go with that, so they went with "Kill 'Em All," which is cool. Still love this fucking album regardless. And I have to point out, look at these young motherfuckers on the back. I mean,
Right.
let me zoom in here, because I used to have this a T-shirt, like a raglan shirt with this on the front. And goddamn, look at Lars, young buck there. Incredible album. Hit the lights, the Four Horsemen, Motor Breath, Jump in the Fire, Anesthesia, Pulling Teeth, which is one of my all-time favorites.
Dude,
Uh,
anesthesia is ridiculous.
oh my god, it just that I think that was the beginning of people realizing how fucking great Cliff Burton is and was. Um, Whiplash, Phantom Lord, No Remorse, Seek and Destroy, Metal Militia. What a fucking debut album! I mean, this record, I this came out in what 81. I was born that year, 83. No, I don't. Either way, I was just a baby when this came out. I didn't discover this until maybe the late 80s when I first heard Metallica. But like, man, like I can't imagine like being alive at the time, being a full blown metalhead, and then hearing this for the first time. Like this must have really like set people off and just again the music that came out after this, the bands that this record influenced, it was quite a fucking big deal. And I know we've talked about have we ever talked about Kill 'Em All on our show? I don't know if
I don't
anybody's ever brought this one out. If a
I
guest
don't
has
think
come
so.
on,
Mm-mm.
but
No, Jason Kaiser did. Jason Kaiser
yes,
had an OG, and I'm sure Doug Brown, I'm sure, talked
I
about it at some point
I can't
because
remember if he did or not, but Jason Kaiser definitely showing off how his record collection got started, and he had all those OGs in there, which I fucking love that. That was great episode, and goddamn, that dude's hilarious.
right.
Um,
As far as this album, like the first pressing or the first version that I ever got was a CD from Walmart, and it had the Blitzkrieg. It had the additional track Blitzkrieg, which was
okay.
not one of the standard tracks. It was like a bonus track,
Hmm.
which was a rare thing for them back in
I
the day.
think it was
And
a
I want to say,
European.
wasn't there another track on that?
I think Blitzkrieg was the only one because I had a friend who had that too. When I was really getting into metal, I always mentioned this guy Rob when him and his brother Christopher always had. They were big metalheads, and I always remember that they had that version with Blitzkrieg on it. And I don't know if it was a European import or a Japanese import, but it definitely was not originally released in the U.S.
Hmm.
So, um, but moving
Very
on
cool.
to their sophomore album, which is probably the most talked about album by guests on our show, and that would be Kill 'Em All. I've got three pressings of this one. This looks like an OG that came directly from Blake Harrison's collection when I went to go take some records off of his shelf. Um, yeah, it's got the Metal Force logo there on the back. Um, record ain't in the best of shape, but you know, this is a legendary album. I've heard many of people say that this is their favorite Metallica album, and that's fine. You know, my beef with Albert was he had mentioned on our show that this is their best album, and then he said that Master of Puppets gets boring towards the middle. But I disagree. You know, I think Escape and Trapped Under Ice. Those are two songs that I can absolutely skip on this record. But I wanted to break this one out because Albert mentioned this one on our show. And then, like, I don't know, a few weeks later, I went through my collection and looked and I was like, oh, I do have it. Best thrash metal of all time, Decibel Magazine. Albert was
Hmm.
very proud of that. I would imagine I'd be pretty stoked too if I was quoted and thrown on a hype sticker. But this was when I think in the 2010s, Metallica started to repress all of their albums on their own label, Blackened, and yeah, I bought this one pretty quickly because I was like, I don't want to have to go to a store and pay a lot of money for an OG, which that's not the case with OG pressings, anyways. And then the third one that I have is the Walmart exclusive Electric Blue. Um, you know, I'm a sucker for colored vinyl. Look at how fucking beautiful this is.
Oh,
And
absolutely, dude, and they sound incredible.
yes, yeah.
Like,
Look,
I
like
just,
you don't have to be a fan of remastered. Remixing is a different story, only if you do it what right. But I felt like this is a great record. I mean, like The new Megadeth features a cover of this song, and I think I called Jeff up, and he's like read my mind. He said exactly the same thing I said about it. It sounds exactly how you would expect Megadeth to cover a Metallica song. The only difference is I feel like they tuned down a little, which was great. You know, they
Mm,
fucking nailed it. Whether you're a fan of Dave's vocals or not, um, I great fucking record. I mean, this cover alone is just so fucking awesome. I remember I had this T-shirt a couple years ago. Don't know where the fuck I did with it. Um, but moving on to their third and my personal favorite, and this is the album that shaped me into a metalhead. Actually, Master of Puppets. I tell this story all the time on our show. And I was a little kid. This guy Brad was spending the night at my house, and we started to go through my sister's drawer, which was a terrible idea. But we found this on cassette. It was on a white shell cassette, and yeah, I don't know what I was thinking, what we were going to find in there, but we found this cassette. This is an OG pressing that came from Blake Harrison's collection. Got the Elektra logo there on the bottom. Bit of rough shape, don't care. Love this album, start to finish. I can't skip a single track on this. I mean, probably one of their best songs ever written, "Disposable Heroes," is on this album, and man, I know this was featured in my. I think this was my number one album of all time when we did
yep,
our top 20. Yeah,
yep, yep.
this is one. I got a good story about this. This is again when they started repressing everything in the 2010s. I bought this from them and it skipped like a motherfucker. And I emailed them. They sent me a new one. That one skipped like a motherfucker. I don't know what happened. Why they just did. There was no quality control checking on this, and it wasn't until my good and awesome co-host went out and I said, "Hey, buddy, I think you bought this for me for Christmas actually one year. The Walmart
Something like
pressing,
that. Yeah.
yeah." And for those of you who want to download it, oh, there you go. Um, but my all-time favorite album. This is, in my opinion, a perfect metal album. It's start to finish just a banger. My first thoughts. I remember the first time hearing the intro to Battery. I thought it was kind of slow and boring, and I was like, I don't know if this is for me. And then once like the fucking real deal started kicking in, I was like, holy shit! You know,
Right.
this is the pinnacle of Metallica, in my opinion. I thought that they fucking, this was the last record that Cliff was on. Unfortunately, they were on tour in Europe when the bus flipped over and he passed away. Really tragic stuff because I often wonder like what this band would sound like if Cliff was still alive today, and I hope that he would still be in the band because he was a huge presence in this band. My buddy Jake tells me this story that when he saw them in '88 with Ozzy or in '86 with Ozzy, all he remembers was he stood right in front of Cliff, and he just remembers the denim and this big ball of hair headbanging. And I was
Hmm.
like, that's one of the most appropriate descriptions of Cliff Burton if I've ever heard one.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard stories from coworkers or whatever. They got to see Metallica with Cliff back in the day, and I just like, fuck, that would have been awesome. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yeah.
and I'm sure for them, back then it was just like it's Metallica. It's like with or without Cliff. It's like it's not as big a deal as what it is today, but just to be in that moment and to have the aside from staying the OG lineup,
Yeah.
to see him with Cliff Burton, and just like, man, that's awesome. Um, as far as this album, I have a couple of little side stories to about my different pressings. This one I got from a record store in Des Moines, Iowa. I don't remember why I was in Des Moines, but everywhere I go, I try to check out local record stores or whatever. And this one I found there's a sticker on the side here that says Metallica skips multiple times on track two, side one, which is Disposable Heroes. Otherwise, plays fine with some surface noise and pops here and there. Rare first pressing, $30. So had to buy an OG Master of Puppets for $30. And whenever I opened, and here's the original inlay, the original insert. Whenever I got home and opened it up, there are It looks like it was skipped down a gravel road. It just, I mean, this ding right here is just like stupid ridiculous. But I mean, I've never even put it on the turntable. I don't even want to give it its day in court just because it is so fucking scratched up. But I do, in fact, own an original OG press of Master of Puppets, which is awesome. I mean, it's really cool to have. But yeah, really cool pressing to have. And as soon as I get this one put up,
By the way, track 2 of side 1 would be Master of Puppets. Just saying. Track 1 of side 2 is Disposable Heroes.
track two side, you're right. I was confused. My bad. My bad. But yeah, the title track for this album does in fact skip. My fault. I guess that's my dyslexia picking up that 2-1, 1-2, whatever. So anyway, another pressing that I got from our good friend Doug Brown. This
Shout out
is
Doug
a
Brown.
this is a pressing from
Korea?
Taiwan, Thailand,
That was
no,
Korea.
some Korea,
Yeah, because there were certain songs that were just deemed too
printed in
violent.
Korea.
Yep,
Yeah, yeah, you are correct. As
I know.
always, shut up. So the track listing for this is, of course, um, altered because of the what was it, Nick? Too violent?
I believe so. Disposable Heroes or Damage Inc.
Both.
was not on there.
No, no.
Yeah.
Uh, the track listing for this side one is Battery, Master of Puppets, and Orion, and track or side two is Leper Messiah, which Leper Messiah, it seemed like that would be something that, the whole religious take of whatever would be censored in Korea. But Leper Messiah, the thing that should not be, Bread Fan and The
Okay.
Prince are in fact the two
Cool.
tracks that were
Yeah, yeah.
substituted
2
on
cover
this album.
songs.
hmm Um, but yeah, those are my two rare pressings, and the other two are just like I've got one sealed and one Walmart version that I play that I listen to. Or no, this one is the one with the hype sticker
So that's
from.
the 2010s when they were repressing everything.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, and then the Walmart.
So so I have to ask, have you spun that one yet? Does it skip like mine?
Which one? The Walmart.
The one with the hype sticker.
I have listened to it, and I don't think it skips.
I had to tape a penny to the top of my stylus so it didn't fucking skip, so it pressed down and just stayed on it. I was so fucking furious.
Hmm.
I did, however, when I got home with all those records from Blake, I spun the OG one that he had. It's got its pops in it, like all old school records should, but
Sure.
just I love the nostalgia of like listening to these old records, especially the way they should be intended to. Um, Good stuff. I mean, I can't say enough great things about that album because it's just for me start to finish a banger, perfect record, perfect
hmm
metal album,
hmm
and
Yeah, that was the first album that I ever got from Metallica because I know I told this story, but whenever I saw the video for one um, back in '89, I went to Walmart with my parents and I wanted to get a cop. I wanted to get Injustice, and they didn't have it. And I'm like, all that they had was Master of Puppets, so I got it from on cassette from Walmart, half hour away from where we live, and they bought me the cassette, and I listened to it on the way home, and I was just like, oh my god, Metallica, like this thing is amazing. So Master of Puppets was my first full introduction to the band, and it'll always have a special place in my heart. But you know
yeah. Speaking of Injustice for All, up next, the follow up to Master Puppets. This was Netherton, Jason Newsted's debut with Metallica. He's fucking incredible. Jason Netherton was in Metallica.
Mhm.
I think the biggest complaint people have about this album is you cannot hear the bass on there, and whatever stories they got about why they didn't include the bass. I remember my buddy Joey getting me this for my birthday when I was in the 3rd grade, and I used to listen to this album religiously. It stayed in my mom's car when I was a kid. This is the Walmart green vinyl with all the marble stuff in it, smoke. Um, and I used to tell this to my friend Cliff. He used to love this story, but and that part in Blackened when they'd be like, "See your mother." put to death. See your mother. Anyways, I always used to turn that part down because my mom was just she was super offended by anything I listened to, and I didn't want her to fucking listen to that and just throw that fucking tape out the window.
Right.
I'd always, uh, out of respect to my mother, I don't want her thinking that I'm listening to this shit with the intentions of killing her at some point, obviously. But oh my fucking god, this record, whether the guitar tone was too thin for people or they just weren't playing fast enough, it, it's it's just so goddamn. The intro to Blackened, which I discovered, I learned a couple years ago that that's just something that they played and then they reversed it. So it's the studio magic they did on this. I am and Justice for All. I am the Beholder. One, the shortest straw. Um, this next one, when a couple years ago, I flew out to Missouri to see Metallica for 2 nights with Jeff. The second song they played that night was Harvester of Sorrow, and I started tearing up because I never thought I would hear that song live. That is such a great fucking track. Um, the Frayed Ends of Sanity, another good one. To Live Is to Die. Now that's they're it's an instrumental track, but at one part in the middle, James does a little spoken word of something that Cliff Burton had written, and and then it ends with Dyer's Eve, which, in my opinion, might have been the last thrashy song that Metallica ever wrote before they ventured onto the Black Album, which that pissed a lot of people off. But this record, I mean, this influenced a lot of people. I remember the song 82588 by Dillinger Escape Plan was the release date of this, and then they made a bunch of T-shirts with this on there, and you know, can't say enough great things about this record. Whether you were a fan of it or not, it didn't do it for you, the old school thrash heads. Hey, that's fucking fine. I was in love. I mean, Jeff said it himself. Like he saw the one video and had his parents take him to the store so he could buy this on cassette, right?
Correct.
Yeah, because I certainly wasn't collecting CDs at that time either. But
I don't even know if CDs were a thing in '89, but either way,
my father had CDs, cassettes, 8 tracks, and reel to reels. But like for me as a kid, I don't think my parents were going to buy me a CD player, so I had a lot of like cassettes. And then that's another story. But like I man, this fucking album. Look at these fucking douchebags on the.
those guys.
I don't know what tempo is. No, these guys are fucking rad. I love this fucking record. There you go, the Walmart hype sticker somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but this was a great fucking album. This for many years they toured this. I think I've got a lot of friends who got that live binge in Seattle, and people always make the stories of when the camera's like doing the up position from Hetfield, you can see like little balls of cocaine in his fucking nostrils and shit. I mean, man, that might have been prime Metallica right there because that album that live fucking show is so fucking good.
Mm.
Seattle in '89. I mean, whew, man, oh man.
Yeah, that would have been a rad tour to catch for sure. I mean, and the whole theatrics, they had the statue on stage, and just their
They have
whole
a name for her, and I forgot what it is.
justice,
I think it's like Mary or Susie or something like that. Karen.
Lady Death,
Yeah,
I don't know, I don't know.
they
Um,
definitely named her.
yeah, I've got a remastered 180 gram
Shit,
version
yeah.
of this. I've got the Walmart pressings, the same as my co-host here. Um, but yeah, this is and again, it's a blackened, released in 2008, blackened recordings, a remaster. Really cool, really cool out. And dude, I mean, shortest straw, harvester of star. It's just fuck. It's a good. And Dyer's Eve.
Banger after banger, right?
Mmm, mmm, so good, so good.
I
And then, of
mean,
course, as I featured on the on an episode not too long or a while back now, I guess it would be since we're taking a break. I got and Justice for Jason
yeah,
with the
shit, yeah.
with the bass added to it, and it's cool. It's got more punch. It's definitely the way that I wish that they would have officially released this album, but you know, it's cool. cool to hear the tracks with some bass on it. So
No, for sure. I
sorry.
mean, I when I think about like I've said it already in this show a couple times. You know, Master Puppets is my favorite album. I think lyrically, the best lyrics Hetfield wrote was on Justice for All. I mean, those shortest straw, Jesus Christ, those Harvester of Sorrow, frayed ends of sanity. Those are some fucking powerful lyrics that as a little kid I would memorize those things, and I had one friend who liked Metallica. It wasn't until the Black Album came out that everybody else started being, oh yeah, this band that Nick likes. Like, no shit, Sherlock. You think I listen to shitty music like the rest of you? Fuck no. I listen to good stuff. And by the way, pat myself on the back for being right all the time, Jeff.
Oh
Um,
my God. You're,
so um, yeah, I mean, dude, like I that record, if it held up for a very long time for me. I had posters in my room and everything. And then in 1991, I went to go visit my grandparents out in Germany, and
now
I
hold
knew
on, hold
before.
on, hold on. Before we go any further, did we skip the 598 EP?
Oh, we should have talked about that before because that was actually that came out before Master Justice for All.
That's what I was going to say, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to interrupt, but I do want to get into it before we start talking about the Black Album because I know it came out before this.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, absolutely.
so a little out of order, kids, but that's okay. That's okay. We're it's we can't be right all the time, can we, Nick?
It's our first day on the show.
Got him. So yeah, let's talk about this fucking little gem, this little EP that they put out that you can hear the bass, that you can very distinctively hear the bass with. You can hear Jason Newsted on the bass with this
Jason
EP
Neville.
that's all cover songs, right? All cover
Yeah,
songs.
all cover songs.
All cover songs. We were talking about Metallica, the 598 EP, and let's get this fucking thing out of the shell. So hopefully you can see that cover a little better. But look at that thing.
Hmm.
Yeah. And this is an original cassette by Elektra. Each side, the disclaimer down at the bottom from 1987 says each side of this cassette contains a full program not very produced by Metallica. This I bought this original 1987 copy of the 598 EP from my good friends at Hit Records in Columbia, Missouri for 598. Mm, love those guys, and I love the fact that this cassette cost 598, which I very well could have got a lot more for. Um, Aside from having that on cassette, I also have
Nice. Hell yeah. I was gonna say, do you
the
have that?
yes I do, yes I
Cool.
do. Has not been played since I acquired it, which is why it's still like not even in a jacket or anything. But very thick. This thing is like almost 200 grams, I'd say. I mean, it's more than 180. But
Hmm.
dude, Last Caress, Green Hill. I mean, it just fucking dude. This is an EP. Crash Course in Brain Surgery, Helpless, Small Hours, The Wait.
Yeah.
Man,
And it wasn't until what in '99 when they reissued this with like way more songs that they finally put like "Am I Evil" on there, right? Or is that on there?
oh, they did a bunch. Yeah, you talk about the Garage Days revisited.
Yes, that's what it was called. And it had like
Yeah, that had like 30 songs on it. That thing was
they
like a
did like
who's who of B-sides and demos and
I remember there's a song that they did with Les Claypool on there. Just some good stuff. I mean, like they at that point of their career, they were so big. I think it came out in '97, maybe '98, but at that point of their career, they certainly were like, "Fuck yeah, let's give the people a proper covers album." And Jason was definitely on that one, and you can hear his bass and all that. But I remember always seeing that in the stores as a kid and just not knowing what I was looking at. And the guy
Mhm.
at the counter was just like, "It's not original song, so you don't want it." And that guy's fucking opinion kind of like weighed down heavy on me until years later when I realized what it actually was. Now, they're selling it for 598 because they know like, hey, you're not paying for OG for original Metallica stuff here, but uh, if you're a Metallica fan and you're a big, they are a big deal to you. That's something that you probably want in your collection. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's cool. You have the cassette and the vinyl.
Yeah. Yeah, and dude, not to say that this is essential Metallica, but it almost is.
Hmm.
Almost
It
fucking
was, and
is because I mean, it's songs that they listened to growing up. You know, I mean, it's songs that inspired Metallica. I would assume anyway. I mean, I don't know the whole story behind it, but
well, these are definitely this was everybody's introduction to Jason. I mean, if you didn't know who what was the band he was in before, oh man, Flotsam and Jetsam. If you didn't know
was it
about that
Flotsam and
band,
Jetsam before that? Yeah, I mean,
that's what he was. That's the band he was in before Metallica. So, if you
okay,
did not know who they were, you know that now you knew who he was.
right.
um, but then moving on, 1991, I went to go visit my grandparents out in Germany. I knew before ahead of time leaving because they you could not turn on MTV and not see the music video for Enter Sandman, but the Black Album, snake in the corner, faded ass logo at the top. I always thought that was an error, but I bought this on cassette when I was in Germany, and I had a little Walkman, and I just ooh, it's a smoky grayish. It's supposed to be black, but I mean, if it was black, and it would just be a straight black vinyl, right?
Right.
Um, I have like vivid memory of me listening to this on cassette and singing like the chorus to "Sad but True" in front of my entire family in Germany, and they're just all like laughing at me, like "Shut the fuck up." Um, but this, you know, this album was the breakthrough album for them that broke them into the mainstream. Enter Sandman. I mean, that song, Virginia Tech, they play that as an intro to when the football team comes out in the field, and it became a viral fucking thing because the whole fucking audience was singing it. Then Metallica went and played a show out there in Blacksburg, Virginia, a couple of years ago, and it was like full circle for them. Um, Enter Sandman, Sad but True, Holier Than Thou, The Unforgiven, great fucking song. Don't care what you think. Wherever I May Roam, my personal favorite off this record. That the solo in that song is so fucking awesome. Don't Tread on Me, Through the Never, Nothing Else Matters, Of Wolf and Man, The God That Never Failed. What a fucking underrated track. My Friend in Misery and The Struggle Within. Um, Big ass snake. This record, I mean, I had posters on my wall. I had T-shirts. Um, and I remember getting into middle school, and there were a couple more people that were like, "Yeah, Metallica," but I'm like, "No, dude, this you don't understand. Like, I don't care if it wasn't the thrashiest of what, because they were the kings of thrash. They kind of, but they moved on and sell out, whatever you want to call them. They just advanced their sound. They progressed their sound, and people couldn't handle it. And I get it. I really do, because that happened to me with Korn when Follow the Leader came out. Like, I was so pressed for that band, but when that record dropped, I was like, it isn't for me. So it happens. It happens. But when you're young and influential and you don't give a fuck, this record was such a big fucking deal. And mine came with the hype sticker as well. Little Walmart sticker. I like to save those because I'm a fool with my records. But you know, can't say enough good things about this record. I can't, at least. I loved it. And uh Jesus Christ, like they had quite a few music videos for this stuff off this record too. I mean, they hit after hit, like I said, you know.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I got the album whenever it came out, um, because of the hype around Enter Sandman, and plus it was new Metallica at the time. Like so I
Hmm.
got into them with one, and then got Master of Puppets, and then Justice, and then I got this, and I was just like, I liked it. I didn't see a big deal about it, but there were guys older than me, in high
Yep.
school or whatever, that were like, "Fuck Metallica, they're sellouts, and this album sucks." And I'm like, I don't see anything wrong with it. I really, but I don't know if that was just my na- na- naivete, approach to figuring out who I was as a teenager, discovering what I liked or whatever. But going back and listening to it now, it's just like, man, I mean, it's not as good. It's still good. It's not my favorite Metallic album by far, but there's a lot of shit on there that I could have done without, in hindsight, looking back, whatever. Like the God That Failed is cool. What was Holier Than Thou? I could have done without. Through the Never's okay. Nothing Else Matters. I mean, I'm
So
sure that was something that set a lot of people off as nothing else matters. I'm sure that was just like, fuck this band,
yeah, yeah. But
you know.
again, and I point this out to a lot of old school metalheads that like to complain about how he started singing on that album. He sings on Fade to Black. I mean,
Hmm.
there's a lot of songs where he used clean they use clean vocals in the early days, just because and those songs are a lot slower than these songs. So I do have to point out, man, the intro to Through the Never. I mean, that all that is wasn't has like
Right,
as a
right.
kid that always used to hit me like 10-ton bricks. It's just like fuck yeah, like god damn, like they went into that studio and they chose Bob Rock, who, if you don't know, Bob Rock was responsible for Motley Crue's Dr. Feelgood. I think he did a lot of Aerosmith. Um, but he really made that fucking band sound like he brought them to another level that, again, sorry you didn't like it. Like you and I were saying, like we were influential. The two guys that really got me into metal, Rob and Chris, that I talk about, they were brothers. I remember before I left for Germany, they were like, "Don't waste your money on it, man. They suck now." That they kept telling me that. And look, suck or not, was sad, not sad but true, not fucking heavy as shit. I mean, that riff is just so like you can't help but bang your head to it. It was so catchy, so good. So at a
Mhm.
young age, I was, like I said, very influential. If I saw something on MTV or heard something on the radio that I enjoyed, like I was a big fan of it. And that album that really like pulled me in. And uh, we're about to go to a place now with this band that I never thought would happen to me. But do you have anything else to add before we move on?
Yeah, one more thing about the Black Album. It is still one of the highest selling albums today. Which just blows my mind that, I mean, after 90, like 7 or 98, that people would still buy this album on CD or, the digital downloads or whatever, but it's
Mhm.
still to
Yeah.
this day and without looking it up, I mean, it's probably one of the highest selling albums ever.
What was it that Doug Brown says? Like the first week of sales for the last new Megadeth was crushed by like the however many sales the Black Album had on
The
them,
Black
like
Album
that.
still gets, yeah. It's
And I'm
just
and,
like,
and I have to point this out. When that album came out, a lot of bands, a lot of thrash bands, went in that same direction. We got Countdown to Extinction, which was absolutely a huge step back from Peace Cells, or
rest in
not Peace
peace.
Cells, Rust in Peace. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, I know Exodus had an album that was a little commercially. Same with Testament. A lot of bands tried to go in that direction because they were like, "Come on, let's not fucking kid ourselves. Nobody starts playing fucking music just to fucking in to have a good time with your friends. You want to fucking make a living on this. You don't want to be working a day job. You want this to be your life." And if
Right.
you can do that with this talent that you have of writing music, which believe me, if I could fucking play guitar, play drums, I wouldn't be shoveling snow for a fucking living at my job, um,
Mhm.
and fixing golf stuff. But I love it. I'm not trying to say my job sucks. My job rules. But if I was a musician, my life would be in a totally different place. Jeff and I probably never met. But like that's the thing. Like when if you have the opportunity to advance your sound and get to that next level without fucking compromising your what you're doing, and I feel like they did that. They did a great job until 1995. Yeah, 1995. I was a freshman in high school, and I remember I was in a friend's car, and Until It Sleeps came on the radio, and he goes, "Oh, this is the new Metallica." And I started laughing at it. I was like, "No, it's not." And then James' vocals came on, and like my facial expression, my mood, everything had changed. And I was like, "No, no." And unfortunately, neither of us have load, right? So we can't show this off, but we have to go there. And I certainly became less of a fan. They changed their logo. They cut their hair, which that shouldn't mean shit. But they at that point I started using the word sellout to describe this band, and what a young stupid fucking idiot I was. Because come on, like now none of those songs were that album was nothing compared to Black Album or anything else. Like I have to believe that they did not make as much record sales as they did, but they were starting to like tour in bigger venues. Um, Everybody knew who they were at that point. I mean, if you were like a mainstream metalhead, like I pretty much was, you know, they played Landover, Maryland 2 nights in a row. My buddy Nathan went and bought me this shirt. I mean, when we went to St. Louis, that show in St. Louis, I saw somebody wearing it. I had to stop them because I was like, man, I had that shirt when I was a kid. I just wanted to like peep it real quick and look at the dates on the back. But um, then in what 2 years later, 1997, Reload came out,
Mhm.
which had Fuel, which I love that song.
Mhm.
But wasn't my thing. Now I'm going to tell you this. Fast forward to all these years later, when I do go back and listen to those records, still not a big fan, but I can say like they went from being a thrash band to like a hard rock band, and that's what I look at those albums. They're like heavy classic rock almost, like to
Yeah.
best way to describe it. And the only other person that used those words to describe those albums was Adam Jarvis. He once said that to me, and I was like, "What?" I was like, "I say that all the fucking time. I can't believe somebody else feels that same way." But it's the truth. Like they weren't writing thrash. They weren't writing those speedy thrashy records anymore. I think Slayer took that crown and rolled with it. Um, but needless to say, I stayed a fan of Metallica. I think, like I probably wasn't listening to all those older records as much as I used to. I was certainly in maybe my grunge phase or new metal phase at that point, but didn't fucking matter. Like years later, like when I go back and put on Master of Puppets or any of those albums, I'm just like, oh god, like these guys are so fucking brilliant.
Mm. No, 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 absolutely. I mean, I and I'm the same way with you. Like, I mean, I wasn't into Load, wasn't into Reload, but I mean, I'll go back and listen to like shit like "Ain't My Bitch." It's cool, you know. I mean, it has its moments.
Hero of the Day. Do you remember that music video? It was corny
Yeah,
as shit.
no, it is,
Very,
it is.
but I every now and then that comes on, and I'm just like, yo, this is actually catchy as shit. I can't believe I fucking dissed this band so hard. So again, I was a naive young kid. When you don't get what you want, and that's what all those other old school metalheads felt like when Injustice came out, you get irritated by it. But continue.
Um, yeah, it just overall, like I have no desire to go out and get those albums on vinyl. You know, I mean, without even doing research, like I don't think we heard a lot of those tracks from those albums whenever we saw them live. You know, like whenever we saw them 2 days in a row and they switched up the entire set list every night. Like I don't think there was a whole lot. Fuel,
Fuel and
you know,
King Nothing. I think they played King Nothing on one
did
of
they
those
play
shows.
King Nothing?
Mhm.
But I mean, collectively, like from those albums, it's like it's almost like they want to forget that timeline. You know,
Perhaps, but
I don't, I don't know.
I think after that, the S&M came out in like maybe 2000, and it was Symphony and Metallica,
Mhm.
where they had it, and they were the first ones to do that. Kiss went and did it. Megadeth went and did it. Dream Theater went and did it. A lot of bands like to copy Metallica. Let's not fucking kid ourselves. Um, I never really cared too much for that record, but there was a new song there called Four Leaf or No Leaf Clover,
Mhm.
which they played when we saw them, and yeah, I mean, you know, again, breaking new grounds, trying something new that nobody else has done. That's what Metallica is known for. They rolled the dice on themselves, and they did some really cool things that some people may have liked or didn't like, but you know that is what it is.
Okay.
I remember also because since we're going in chronological order here. I believe the year was 2001, and there was Mission Impossible 2 had come out, and they released that song "I
I
Disappear."
disappear.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
the controversy around this song was a radio station had played it on the radio, and they played a certain mix that Metallica did not approve, and they're like, "How the fuck do people get this?" Napster was a big deal. If you don't know what Napster is, if you're too young to know what that is, there was this app that you could download and just download unlimited free music from all these artists. And Lars Ulrich, the drummer of Metallica, was really upset by that and caused a big stink up about it because people were illegally downloading their music. And like, this is how these guys make their money from fucking performing, from record sales, playing shows. But if people aren't buying their records anymore, and there's downloading for free. You're not going to get those royalty checks in the mail. And at the time, I was really pissed off because I was cheap as shit. I was working at a record store, and I did get a pretty damn good discount on a lot of these records, CDs that I was buying at the time. But he had a good point. Thinking about it all these years later, he had a great point to bring all that to cause a big stink about it because they were getting robbed of their money. Their hard earned art was being stolen, and I felt like you know I said what I said back in those days, but now when you think about it, like I said, like that's you're ripping this band off of their hard earned fucking money, and unfortunately we lost Napster after that, but a couple other things came after that, Morpheus and Kazaa, but and then the secret private dot thread on the Lamb of God message board that a lot of us used to share our stuff on, throwing those guys
Uh-huh.
under the bus.
Hmm.
But you know, now if you try to go and download stuff, it's hard. It is really fucking difficult to find stuff on the internet. So that's why stuff like Spotify and Apple Music exist. Pandora, it exists so that you pay a flat fee and you get unlimited music. But the hard part is like how much of that money actually goes into the artist's pocket. So um, you
Yep.
know, we are in the digital age, but I feel like uh, vinyl is making such a strong comeback that record sales are probably going to go up again because people are investing their money in another form of music. So um, let's see. Okay, ooh, the lowest point in Metallica. Do you have Saint Anger, or as I like to call it, Street Anger? No. Um,
That's a
that
big negative, Captain.
okay. I will never forget hearing the first time. So there's a local radio station in Baltimore, 98 Rock, and they have on Monday nights mandatory Metallica. And I remember they had this interview with Lars, and then they debuted. I think it was the song "Saint Anger." It might have been what was the other one? Anyways, I was just I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I was like, "Yo!" And then that some kind of monster documentary movie came out with them, and it was a little bit better explanation on why they went in that direction. I mean, James went to rehab, he got sober, he came back. The guitar tone was very flat. Jason had left the band, so Bob Rock had to play bass on there. But I think one of the coolest parts of that documentary is showing, all the guys, bassists, guitarists, whoever who showed up to try out. Twiggy Ramirez, Pepper Keenan, Rob Trujillo. He ended up getting the gig, but like, that impressive part is like, what do you guys want to play? Let's play Battery. And he didn't use a fucking pick. He used his fingers to play it, and that was awesome. I
Hmm.
love that part of that film. It definitely made expose them for being grown men with egos and all that, and there was a lot of like unnecessary fighting. One thing that makes me crack up in that movie is where they're all fighting and Kirk is in there, guys, come on, let's just relax. It always makes me think about that episode of South Park with you know what I'm talking about, where the Timmy
Too.
and that one guy is always like, guys, come on, let's just stop fighting. Like that
Yeah.
scene always
The
that scene always makes me think about Kirk Hammett because he was like the voice of reason there. He didn't want to fight. He just wanted to write music and all that shit. So
hmm.
um yeah, I did not like that era at all. I remember seeing Superjoint Ritual at the Auto Bar in Baltimore, and Phil was on stage fucking mocking them and making fun of that fucking song, and it made me laugh because I was like, cool, I'm not alone in this ship here because like they did some bad stuff for a while. Um, I can't get behind
They
that
did.
album.
They did. And dude, the thing of it is, like, I mean, I got into a point where I was traveling so much, still do, travel for shows or whatever. But one day I was just like, I want to go back and listen to these Metallica albums that I dismissed all these years ago. And the thing about like the title track from Saint Anger, dude, the way it starts is so good. It's so good. It is. It really is. I mean, it fucking is just jamming. I mean, they're getting into it.
And then the
And then
Queen
whenever the
part
verse
comes.
hits, it's just like, my lifestyle determines my death style. And I'm like, fuck it. I'm done. I can't even do this anymore. And it's not even the pinging snare. from Lars, because that's such a thing with grindcore, because that's a, that's a thing where,
Yep.
like, one
Yep.
one of our most talked about grindcore albums, Circle of Dead Children, Human Harvest, is fucking just ping 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 ping, so that's not even a deterrent for me anymore, because, like, I mean, even though it's Metallica, it's this shitty lyrics and whatever with the pinging snare. But that was like one of the biggest gripes from people, was that fucking snare,
Yeah.
sound like a
Yeah.
trash can or whatever on the or trash can lid. But it's just like the lyrics are so bad,
He
you
got
know.
sober. He didn't have that great musical creativity that he once had, and that changed him a lot. Look, I'm glad you brought up the snare because yeah, a lot of people make comments about that, but that is essentially the snare for most gore grind bands, and I thought that was hilarious that people still complain about it because they're like, well, it doesn't fit on that album, but it fits on this one. It's like 1,000 times worse than that. But okay, whatever. I hear your arguments, people. I do because I was in the same boat. I can't get behind that record. I really can't. Like I will stick with the ones that I do like, and yeah. So what after that was Death Magnetic,
Death
and
Magnetic. And dude, okay, I want to take the helm for this for a second. Death Magnetic is a good fucking album. I dig it. I dig it. There's enough good tracks on that album. I don't know if he started drinking beer again or what it was, but Death Magnetic, like, even whenever it came out, I remember I was with Jamerson at the time. We were hanging out and I was listening to this album, and even though it had like the Unforgiven 2 or Unforgiven 3 or whichever track was on that album, I was just like, dude,
Mhm.
this is kind of goofy. But like the Judas Kiss is a fucking good song. Um, um, God, I can't even think. I really should have done more research for this fucking Death Magnetic is a good album. I do not own it on vinyl, but I want it on vinyl. If I ever saw it on vinyl, I would buy it. Yeah, Death
wasn't there a
Magnetic is a good
song?
album.
Wasn't there a song on there about Lemmy?
May have been. That's that. I know there was one on the next one about Dio, but yeah, there might have been a song about Lemmy on. Yeah, dude, I have to look now. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't.
really trying to stay off my phone for this episode, but I got to
I
look
can't.
now.
I can't remember what it was called, but there's a music video that got made years later. It's like an animated video, and it's like all about Lemmy and his life. But it's that song. Um, no, you're right. I remember when that album came out, and they started doing like the 360 stage tours, and like it was a big deal because like their live shows were really what was important, and people were starting to come out again and really be like, yo, Metallica's fucking back. Their tone is heavy again. They're writing like these faster riffs, and that's great. Like again, you don't have to have every record in every band's collection if you don't like it. That's always been a big thing for me. There's a band that Jeff and I talk about all the time that we argue about that. Their first couple records were such a big deal to me, and then at one point they just lost it, and I can't really get behind anything this band has done since. So I'm happy with the records I do have from their from their earlier catalog, but after a certain point, didn't care anymore. Don't need to own them. Don't want to spend my money on it. But I had that brief gap. That brief gap. That was like a 10-15 year gap because did you find the song?
I did. I don't know what song it is about Lemmy. I thought it would have been more obvious, but My Apocalypse, dude, Cyanide, My Apocalypse. This is a good album. Can I
But read
cannot.
read the track. Read the track list.
Okay, this was Just Your Life, which is a good one. The End of the Line, also a good one. Broken, Beat, and Scarred. The Day That Never Comes. All Nightmare Long. Cyanide. The Unforgiven 3. The Judas Kiss, Suicide and Redemption, and My Apocalypse.
Hmm.
Now, I know that they did write a song about Lane Staley. Is that
Yeah.
what you're thinking of? Hell and Back?
No, no. Maybe it's on the next one that we could just hop into now. Hardwired. Hardwired to Self-Destruct. This is the first Metallica album that I bought after the Black album. I enjoyed it. I think the Moth into a Flame was my favorite song on this record. I think that the song I might be thinking of might be Murder One, which is on this record. That's the one that I think is about Lemmy. Um,
Maybe.
so uh, this album had dropped. I remember hearing. I think it was Hardwired was the first song that they debuted, and I said to myself, "Wow, Metallica's back. They're writing faster stuff again." Um, the cool thing about this record was there were multiple pressings with multiple different covers. Um, I know a lot of people were like giving them shit because they were like, "Oh, they ripped off Crowbar with this cover."
Crowbar.
Hey, cool. What does yours look like? You got the same one as me?
Yes. Yeah.
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 Um, I have the greenish swamp green version of this record. Um,
I think mine is
so
standard black. Yeah.
when this album came out and they started their U.S. tour, the very first date of this tour was in Baltimore, Maryland. And Metallica started to do something that the only other band I ever saw did this was Pearl Jam, and they put out CDs and digital versions of every live show that they were starting to do. This one was May 10th, 2017, Baltimore, Maryland. It's got the Maryland flag there, James in there screaming. Hardwired, Atlas Arise, For Whom the Bell Tolls, Fuel, Unforgiven, Now That We're Dead, Moth into Flame, Wherever I May Roam, Halo on Fire, Hit the Lights, Sad But True, One, Master Puppets, Fade to Black, Seek and Destroy, Battery, Nothing Else Matters, and Enter Sandman. So, you know, comes in this little cardboard case. CD is on this side. Pretty cool stuff. I was really impressed that they took the time and money to put stuff out like this because when you're a collector like Jeff and and I was not at the show. I remember my friend Cliff and his wife went to this show, and I think Voltbeat and Avenged Sevenfold were the openers, but still, I remember them telling me how expensive these fucking tickets were. They had to sit in the nosebleeds, but this was cool stuff to me. I mean, like it's when you're such a fan of a band and you were at that show, don't you want that fucking copy so you can go back and listen to it and enjoy the relive that fucking great time that you had there? Because even though I wasn't at the show, it was a Maryland show. Loved it.
I saw that tour. I saw the show in St. Louis because I remember Volbeat and all that opened up for him.
So I have to ask, was this the show where it rained?
Yes.
Because Hetfield was talking about him and Rob sitting in the dugout while it was raining, waiting for it to clear up so they could start playing.
Yeah, dude, it poured all day. I mean, it fucking poured all day, and I mean they played in the rain, so kudos to them for doing that. And I mean, I sat in the rain to watch Metallica. Um, to go back to the album, to go back to Hardwired, dude, they did a video for every song.
Yeah,
Every song
yeah.
on that album, they did a video for every fucking song. When I heard, when I heard the title track, when I saw that video, I was just like, oh my god, what is this? This is incredible. This is Metallica. What year is this? Is this 1989? Like very thrashy, very very heavy. I mean, a very just. I was just like,
Hmm.
I was a teenager again, dude. I was so excited. I was so excited for new Metallica, and the album's good. The album's definitely good. It's got its high points, got its low points. Spit Out the Bone is fucking incredible. Title track is fucking incredible. I got to go back and look now, but there's so many good tracks. Here Comes Revenge is a good one. Um, Now That We're Dead's okay. Atlas Rise is a good one. But
Hmm.
their approach to this album by doing a video for every song on the album as a way to promote it, incredible. It was really cool. They did the animated ones. They did the ones where it was just them in the studio. But their approach to promoting this album was incredible, fucking incredible. And Hardwired to this day is still a very solid Metallica track. And
Yeah,
Spit Out the Bone. They're fucking just so good. So
I
good.
agree.
Hands down. I don't care if you're old school Metallica, new school Metallica, whatever generation of fan that you are, Hardwired to Self Destruct is a good fucking album. It is.
I agree.
It's a good album.
I agree. I'm not going to argue with you one bit on that one. That's the only reason I bought it because I was sold by that first track, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to give these guys another shot because
Yeah.
years down the road, they had hopefully they still got it, and they do.
Mhm.
Like maybe in 2001 when James sobered up and Street Anger had came out. Like they just, it is what it is, man. Like I think people always say that the only artist I can think of that sobered up and their music got better was Nine Inch Nails. Um,
Mm.
but before we move on to their last and final album, I
Hold
know
on.
Jeff.
I also got the Walmart variant.
Oh yeah,
I found the Walmart exclusive, the orange pressing for this, and the cover is the same. Whatever. But yeah.
dude. Let's talk real quick about the fan club that you're in, and you want to show off some of these rare Metallica records that you have in
Okay.
your collection.
Yeah. 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 Because I guess that would be chronologically correct if we did this. So this was during the pandemic. Metallica had their vinyl club, which you paid a I don't even remember what the fee was for to be in the club for a year, but like you paid a flat amount and you got every vinyl that they released during the pandemic. It was like a year and a half, 2 year thing, and you didn't know if you were going to get one record, if you were going to get 10. You didn't know. It was just like a blind lottery, pretty much. You know, you were just buying into this club to see what you got. And I did. I bought into it, because I wasn't going to concerts. I wasn't spending money on gas to drive to Baltimore to hang out with Nick and agoraphobic nosebleed. So I figured, fuck it, just I'll get it, buy into this Metallica thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and just start off with the 7 inches. I don't know what the exact order for these releases were, but to go ahead and start off because I was gonna bring this up while you were talking about it, but the uh, actually these are three, four, one, two. Okay, okay. So here we'll do this. Edition number one is Metallica live at Donington in 1987, and
Sick.
these are still sealed. I haven't opened these because it might be worth money one of these days. So just hang on to them. But there's one track on both sides. The side A is For Whom the Bell Tolls, which is of course live at Donington in '87. Side B is Leper Messiah, which is really, really, really fucking cool. That artwork is, of course, a throwback to I almost want to say
Awesome.
it's the crash course in brain surgery, but plus, yes, yes,
Yeah.
very, very, very cool artwork. Still sealed. If anybody's interested in buying that copy, we'll talk about it after the show. Edition number two. This is Motherload, which again is two tracks, two live tracks, one song on both sides, one song on each side. Side A is Sad But True, and side B is Whiplash. So different eras of Metallica, but again, a very, very cool collectible thing to have. Edition number three was this is the one I was going to talk about earlier during the old Napster thing. This is the I Disappear leaked and live. This
Oh,
side
that's
A
awesome.
side A has the leaked Napster version, and side B is I Disappear live. Original version
Killer.
appear original version available on the Mission Impossible 2 soundtrack, recorded live at the House of Blues in West Hollywood, California on July 18th of 2000. But yeah,
That's incredible. I didn't know they did that.
yeah, this has the actual leaked Napster version of I Disappear. And last but not least, in the 7 inches is a tribute to Chris Cornell,
I love it.
where again, two live tracks, one on each side. Side A is All Your Lies, which was featured on the 1988 Soundgarden album Omega OK, Ultra Mega OK, sorry, Ultra
Mhm.
Mega OK. Side B is Head Injury, which was also released in 1988 on the Ultra Mega OK album. But yeah, two live tracks dedicated to Chris Cornell. They were played at the Forum in Los Angeles, California on January 16th, 2019, as a tribute to Chris Cornell. So those are the 7 inches, and there are four 12 inches that came out around the same time. Okay, these are five, six, seven, and eight. So number five, I am excited to talk about this. Number five was during was a Zoom session, I guess that they did, where they released a slower, almost like it's like an acoustic version of Blackened. And you talk about mixed reviews, you talk about mixed responses from their fan base. I enjoyed it. It's different, not exactly what I was envisioning, but it was a different version of one of their coolest tracks that they've ever done. I dug it. I know a lot of people don't. A lot of people still don't. Probably going to get a lot of shit for this. I don't care. It's a cool thing to have. Um, this particular pressing came with a slip mat, which is the artwork from the Injustice for All, but it's the lady, whatever she's called, from the artwork from Injustice for All. Now this track list, kids, this is cool. So it's side A is Black in 2020, which was okay. Here it is, recorded remotely via Zoom at each band member's home studio and assembled at HQ. So each band member played this from their home during the pandemic, where everybody was on shutdown. Nobody was, hanging out. Nobody was recording stuff together. So everybody did this isolated in their own homes. Side B is Black in 2020 Live, which was recorded at HQ in San Rafael, California during the All Within My Hands Helping Hands concert and auction on November 14th of 2020. Track number 2 on side B is a cover of Alice in Chains' Wood. And it's fucking good, dude. It is so awesome. Um, yeah, side B, track 2, Wood, written by Jerry Cantrell. This was again recorded remotely via Zoom, each member's home studio. Blah 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 blah. But yeah, really cool thing to have. I was really reluctant to kind of open this because of the Alice in Chains cover in particular. I mean, I was torn. I really wanted to hear the cover, but I knew that this was going to be one of those collectors things where like Alice in Chains fans were going to want this. Metallica fans were going to hoard them, and really trying to make money off of them. I'm not a flipper. I really don't care anymore. So I finally broke one day and opened it and listened to it, and it's cool. It's a really cool thing that they did covering Alice in Chains. Hearing Hetfield covering or hearing Hetfield singing Alice in Chains is a little weird, but still very cool. The sixth thing in the Metallica Vinyl Club was St.anger Live Rarities. Track 1 on side A is Sweet Amber, which was recorded at Lubbock, Texas, September 4th of 2004, and The Unnamed Feeling, which was recorded November 13th of 2003, live at Osaka, Japan. Side B is Dirty When, and I don't know. I don't know if these are on fucking St.anger or not. I really don't. I don't know. Dirty Window and Some Kind of Monster, which were recorded in Chicago, Illinois. The seventh installment in the Vinyl Club is called Live at Bridge School Benefit 1997, which again are all live tracks. Side A is Low Man's Lyric and Poor Twisted Me. Side B is Fade to Black and the Four Horsemen. Recorded at the Bridge School Benefit and Shoreline Amphitheater in Mountain View, California on October 19th, 1997. And these are all
Miles talked
sealed.
about that on our show episode.
Who did?
Miles.
Okay.
Yeah, he broke
Yeah.
that one up. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Um, and then the final installment in the Metallica Vinyl Club thing was called Leftovers from the Black Album box set. Side A is Nothing Else Matters, a string and vocal mix, and My Friend of Misery, which was a 1990 rough mix. That'd be
Mm.
kind of cool here. Side B is 2 live tracks, No Remorse, recorded at Live Day on the Green in 1991, and The Shortest Straw, filmed or recorded at Live Castle Music Theater, Charlevoix. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that. Charlevoix, Michigan, June 27th, 1992. So there are all of the Metallica Vinyl Club pressings. Some really cool, some, kind of here and there, but, still a cool thing to have the entire collection from their Metallica. And this isn't a thing anymore. Like, they gave it up in 22, I think. They started like a t shirt club, I think. And I'm like, I'm not collecting t shirts. I don't care that much about that. But, you know, cool little collection to have from Metallica. So,
Cool, cool. And then their most recent album, which I do not own on vinyl, but I'm sure you do, 72
72
Seasons.
seasons. Yep. Good
It
album.
wasn't as great as I was hoping it would be. It does have some cool stuff, cool moments on it, I would say. But yeah, they did that, and then they did probably one of the coolest world tours I've ever seen in my life, which we'll get to in a second after Jeff talks about this album.
Um, well, I'm like Nick. I mean, it's good. It has its moments, but not near as good as Hardwired. I mean, it
Hmm.
didn't really feel like a letdown, but it just there wasn't as many. The way my buddy Todd Schneider put it, the way my buddy Todd that we hung out with in Metallic, the way he put it, there was nothing on here that made me have a shit-eating grin,
Yeah.
and he's right. He's right. It's not a banger. It's good, but I've heard a lot of people compare it to say like if another regular rock band put it out, it would be terrible. But Metallica put it out, so it's good. And they're not wrong.
It's Metallica in 2023. I mean, like they always manage to somehow evolve, and they never wrote the same album twice. That's for sure. So, uh, yeah, I when I went to go see you, meet up with you, when we went and saw them in St. Louis, like they had to play these songs off that record because they were touring it. But great promotion job on that album. They did a lot of cool stuff with it. They had like listening parties at certain record stores across the country, and you know, I was trying to buy it on vinyl. Every time I would come across it, I'd just be like, at the time, I was like, not now, not now. And then the more I actually did listen to it, I was just like, maybe I don't want to buy this on album on vinyl. But um, moving forward to where was it? November 3rd, 2023. I flew out to St. Louis and took a 2 hour ride down to Fulton to hang out with my buddy Jeff. But on November 3rd, we went and saw Metallica in St. Louis. There were two shows. So this is what I'm talking about with this awesome world tour. They had first night was Mammoth, which is Eddie Van Halen's son, and Pantera. If you don't know who that is, fuck you. Um, but they opened up with Creeping Death, Harvester of Sorrow, Holier Than Thou, The Memory Remains. That's a load song that they played.
Hmm.
Lux Eterna, Too Far Gone, Cthulhu Burrito, which was that little jam that Robert and Kirk were doing every night. Fade to Black, Shadows Follow, Orion, my personal favorite by Metallica. Nothing Else Matters, Sad But True, The Day That Never Comes, Hardwired, Fuel, Seek and Destroy, and they ended with Master Puppets because at the time, Stranger Things really brought that song to light and made a lot of fucking people like realize how great Metallica was, and it even boosted the sales of Master Puppets. 2 days later, back at the same arena, Metallica, uh, November 5th, 2023 in St. Louis. Whiplash, For Whom the Bell Tolls, Ride the Lightning, King Nothing, 72 Seasons, If Darkness Had a Sun, St. Louis Freeze, which was the jam with Robert and Kirk, Welcome Home Sanitarium, You Must Burn, Call of Cthulhu, No Leaf Clover, Wherever I May Roam, Moth into Flame, Blackened, Whiskey in a Jar, One, and of course, Enter Sandman. Good fucking stuff. This is a double CD, um, like a gatefold. Um, I know Jeff got the digital version of this, and then I was like, "Fuck it!" I was there. Let me buy this on CD. And then this past year, 2025, a few days after Maryland Death Fest, when I got violently ill and had to go home, they played a show in Landover, Maryland, with I believe it was Pantera and Limp Bizkit were the openers, or no, Suicidal Tendencies. It's just a couple days before my birthday. Creeping Death, For Whom the Bell Tolls, Leper Messiah, The Memory Remains, Lux Eternia, If Darkness Had a Sun, Kirk and Rob Doodle, The Day That Never Comes, Fuel, Orion, Nothing Else Matters, Sad But True, One, Seek and Destroy, Master of Puppets, and Enter Sandman. So it was a one date show in Landover. I think in Philly while Death Fest was happening, they did two shows. But if they came anywhere near my area, and whether I was there or not, I'd buy it on CD because this is Metallica in your hometown or your home state. Um, Again, I'm a big fan of of them releasing their live shows. And back in the year 2000, I was working at a Tower Records, and Pearl Jam was doing a tour for, I'm assuming, Yield. I don't know whatever crappy album they were touring at that time, but they would put out like a CD for every show that they played. And I remember pulling out the one for Columbia, Maryland, looking at it, being like, "Holy shit, this is fucking rad!" Like, I can't believe that somebody would have the money to put out something like this. And of course, bands like Metallica, Pearl Jam, giant bands that have been touring for so many years and making money, they can do that. And I love that idea because that really satisfies the fan base. And if you're somebody who has to buy all the shows and hear the different versions that they played of these songs every night, because they're not the Grateful Dead, but they certainly put together quite a collection of music for everybody to hear. So
Hmm. Um, yeah, Fish and Humphreys McGee. Like I remember seeing Humphreys McGee back in like 2007, and after the show, being able to go buy the CD of the show I just watched, like from the merch booth that night, which was cool. And I'd never heard of such a thing. I was like,
hmm
fuck yeah, I want to have this on CD. This show I just watched. But yeah, it's a cool, memorabilia thing. If nothing else, I mean, if you never listened to it, then
it's a
you
good
have it.
marketing idea. Yeah.
You were there. I mean,
hmm
it's another way for them to promote the show or make money or whatever, and survive on the
part
road. So
part of the reason why I started filming live shows is because I always wanted to relive that experience over and over again. Like in 1998, I saw Tool at Ozfest, and it was one of the coolest fucking things. It was the very last show of the tour. When I look up the set list that they played that night, I don't think they did the same set every night, but uh, just wanting to be able to like hold on to that and relive those moments over and over again, it was a big deal to me. So yeah, but yeah, there you go, folks. Metallica. That's everything between Jeff and I. Jeff, do you have any new music?
I'm making sure that was all that I had. I mean, 'cause it definitely seemed like it. But yeah, that's it. That's
Well,
all.
well,
No more
we're at an hour
Metallica.
and a half right now, so I don't think we can we want to keep going with that. Um, yeah, let's talk about new music, new purchases.
New stuff. Okay, so I was telling Nick before we started recording. Last year, whenever Enjoy the Ride Records did the whole basketball release, of course, I got everything that was released in the U.S. anyway. There's still a couple of variants that I don't have, but a couple months back they did a few more pressings, and I'm just like, I'm done. I mean, I've got enough. It's basketball. It's the greatest movie ever made, but I've got my vinyl fill, I got the liquid filled, and whatever. So I caved. A couple months back, they released or they had copies of Cannibal the Musical on VHS that was in like a shell thing that you open it up and it lights up and it was cool. And I want to collect everything for Cannibal the Musical that I had, so I went ahead and bought another pressing of the basketball vinyl or soundtrack on vinyl. At the same time, I got the Roswell Aliens pressing, which is cool. It's a cool little pressing. I don't really have a whole lot of clear pressings with green shit splattered in the middle of it, so another cool pressing to have for the basketball soundtrack. Um, Over the last couple of months, I've started filling in some gaps in my Cephalic Carnage collection, and recently I now have every pressing of the Conforming to Abnormality repress. Um, I recently acquired a clear pressing, limited to 100 for friends and family. I don't do it as well as Nick, but I figured I'd try. The Conforming to Abnormality clear pressing. Really excited to have that. I figured a good album to talk about during an entire Metallica episode would be the new Megadeth. Uh, it's a
Shout
good
out to
album.
Dirk.
Shout out Dirk Verburen, good friend of the show. Yeah, got the new album on vinyl. I got the Target exclusive because it has a bonus track. It has I want to say Bloodlust. Yes, Bloodlust is the bonus track. This is a smoky, what's this called? Blood red ghostly vinyl. Um, yeah, it's 180 gram, thick as hell. The variant is really cool. Um, so my story behind this is that The day it was released, I woke up that morning when I was getting ready for work, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and order a copy from my local Target and then just go pick it up after work. And they were like, available in store. Go ahead and pre-order it now, and you can come pick it up after work. Jeff, sounds like a good fucking idea. So I did that, and at 11 o'clock, whenever I went to lunch, they were like, well, we don't have any copies here. We can mail you a copy, or you can just cancel your order. And I'm like, fuck. All right, fine. So I had it mailed to me, and whenever I got it in the mail, there was no sticker. Target always has their exclusive sticker, a Target exclusive, blah blah blah. Didn't have it. I was pissed. I was so pissed. And what even pisses me off even more is that now the store has copies. It just angers me. But anyway, I got the vinyl. I just don't have my cool little aesthetic thing that I like to have on the front. Target exclusive, whatever. Up next is a pressing that I found out just recently. This was released in 2019. Completely flew under my radar. Had no idea this thing existed, but I rectified the problem immediately. Nirvana unplugged in New York back in 2019, which was the 25th anniversary of the release of this album. And it's always been one disc. Every pressing I've ever seen has always just been one disc. Whether you got it from Target, Walmart, Barnes and Noble, whatever it was always just one disc. This one is two. This is two vinyl. Um, side four Side four are 5 rehearsal tracks from this session. And Nick and I, over the last couple of days, over the last week or so, we've been discussing this because back in, it wasn't Napster, but it was back in the days whenever you could go to a blog spot and download whatever you wanted. I came across a copy of this that I assumed was like rehearsals for the entire, like for every song, and I always just assumed that's what it was. And years of not listening to MP3s on my desktop, I just forgot all about. But these were the only rehearsal songs that were ever released. There was "Come as You Are," "Polly," "Plateau," "Penny Royalty," and "The Man Who Sold the World." But side four of this two vinyl pressing are 5 rehearsal tracks, and it is really cool. And the fucking dude, like the frame that goes around this is like silver. Do you see this? Where it's like it's embossed.
Foil. Yeah, I see it. The
Yeah,
foil.
it's really, yeah, it's like a foil silver thing, but really really cool. Really cool pressing to have. And stoked to have this. Up next is a pressing of an album that I will never own an original of, but I found a guy who does bootleg pressings of albums that I have recently introduced Nick to, and Nick is now taking part of this community. But I found Ween the Mollusk on a bootleg vinyl. Stoked to have another Ween pressing on vinyl. This is a cool, like a blue marble. This includes the tracks "I'm Dancing in the Show Tonight," "The Mollusk," "Polka Dot Tail," "I'll Be Your Johnny on the Spot," which is so good. "Mutilated Lips," "The Burning Stone," "Pink Eye," "On My Leg," "Waving My Dick in the Wind," "Ocean Man." Dude, such a good album. Such a fucking good album from Ween. And this one, okay, the last episode we did, I said I was going to go get a new webcam. So I did. New webcam. Went across town to Walmart and got a new webcam. And when I was walking through the store, I had to buy it. I had to buy tripod on. I had to buy the Walmart variant just because it was right there. They had like 5 of them, and I'm like, yeah. My pressing that I ordered from the official from the band's website was supposed to have been here yesterday, and thanks to a particular FedEx office that doesn't operate on Sundays, it's now sitting at this particular FedEx store, and I'm not going to get into who it is because I'm eventually going to get more stuff from them. But yeah, this is a purple marbled variant from Walmart, purple white mix, exclusively only at Walmart. So excited to have an official pressing of, now I'm going to have 2 or 3 or 5 or however many I end up getting. Alice in Chains tripod. So excited to have this on vinyl. Official press. It's not a bootleg. My bootleg sounds cool, but yeah, official. Excited. And that's all I got. That's it. It's all gone. That's all I got, Nick. It's all you, babe.
All right, I'm going to try to rifle through this, not take too much time up. Sometimes my co-host here likes to talk about stuff that's not vinyl, so I'm going to do that too. I got this awesome Queensryche promo pictures that I got framed.
Oh
Boom,
shit, dude.
threw that
That's
in there.
awesome.
Yeah, I
Now,
cannot find.
did you frame that or did it come framed?
No, I framed it. They were just like two flat like wall promos that you'd see in the stores at record stores, but I bought them for like $5 each, and then I've had this double frame for a while that I was trying to put stuff in, it wouldn't stick, so I managed to make it work, but I cannot fucking for my life of me hang it correctly on the wall. Um, so as far as records, the Texas death metal band Stabbing, they just put out a new album, Eon of Obscenity. This is just dropped on Friday. I was so shocked at how quickly it got sent to me. This is a violet, purple, whatever you want to say it is, record. Very stoked to have this. This is a really cool band that I discovered a couple years ago because they opened up for my friend's Decrepit Birth, um, the Bloodhound Gang. Uh, Hooray for Boobies. This was the 20th anniversary of it. Every center label is a boob.
Nice. Nice.
Um, I wasn't a big fan of this album. I never bought it on CD when it came out. A couple months ago, I was at someone's house and they put it on, and I was like, "Oh my god! Like it's better than I thought it'd be." Bloodhound Gang One Fierce Beer Coaster just got repressed on bone white vinyl. I know my co-host here is expecting his any day soon. All right, a couple weeks ago, Jeff, you and I were talking about gambling with bootlegs and how it's not a good thing. Um, well, I rolled the dice for both of us, pal, and I got this Primus Live at Woodstock '94 vinyl. And
Nice.
yes, it does sound good. The quality sound is great. The big problem I have with this is I'm going to go ahead and read this off now. The actual track list that they played that night was Defy the Laws of Tradition, Here Come the Bastards, There's Damn Blue Collar Tweakers, Bob, My Name is Mud, Jerry Was a Race Car Driver, Sailing the Sea of Cheese, The Air is Slippery, um, Nature Boy, Herald of the Rocks, and then they ended it with Les playing Master of Puppets. Or the whole band was playing it. Not the whole song, though. This version has Defy the Laws of Tradition, Here Come the Bastards, Nature Boy, so they mixed up the track listing. My Name is Mud, Jerry's a Race Car Driver, The Air is Getting Slippery, Herald of the Rocks, which features Jerry Cantrell, and Master Puppets outro. Also about this is they don't in between songs if there's like any sort of banter or whatnot, they took all that out. It's only 7 tracks as opposed to the 11 that they actually played.
Hmm.
Sound quality's good, much like if you've ever watched the full live set on YouTube from Woodstock, when like the first like minute of actual Defy the Laws of Tradition, there's like a part where it kind of sounds a little, and then it just comes back in. That's the only complaint I have about the sound quality. Other than that, it sounds pretty fucking good. Not a bad bootleg to have, but it's again not the full set. They ripped you off somehow there. Um, Queen's right. Empire. This is a picture disc, 7-inch picture disc. Got this. Fucking love it. Adding more stuff to my Queensryche collection. Uh, this is Jet City Woman picture disc die cut. Same deal. It's a 7-inch picture disc. Had to get it. When I ordered that, the Primus live at Woodstock, they also had Rush live from Pink Pop Fest of 1979. There's a really cool version of them playing La Vida Strangito on YouTube. This is a pink vinyl, I guess because it was at Pink Pop. It has A Passage to Bangkok, Xanadu, The Trees, Closer to the Heart, La Vida Strangito, 2112, and then that was it. That was practically the set that they played. I know, I think Alex Lifeson had broken his finger and had to use a different finger to play the guitar on this album, but good shit. Uh, Big Rush fan. Uh, Champ Morgan and I were talking a lot about Queensryche recently, and I'd never listened to Rage for Order. I only knew a couple songs off of this, and he had pointed out that there are 2 versions. There's a version that's got the black ring, and then once they repressed it, it's a blue ring. This album has never been pressed outside of the '80s. I got an OG pressing because I'm just that kind of guy. Happy to have that in my collection. Walk in the Shadows is such a cool song. Um, Here's an album that I've been wanting for a long time that I talked about. Jeff has it. I don't have it. Circle of Dead Children, Human Harvest. I ordered this from somebody in Finland. They send it to me super fucking quick. Very stoked to have it. You can see there's a little tear there on the back, maybe some water damage. I don't know. Don't care. Sounds fucking great. Finally have this on vinyl. Uh, Living Color, Vivid. Um, Bought this. This is actually a promo pressing. You see the little stamp up there.
Nice.
One thing I never knew about this album that I recently learned that it was produced by Mick Jagger. Did you know that?
What?
Yeah,
Mick
he
Jagger from
produced
the Rolling Stones? Mick Jagger?
produced by Mick Jagger.
Wow.
I
No, it's the other Mick Jagger. It's like the Scott Hall thing. Is that Pig Destroyer Scott Hall or the other guy?
or the Bruce Dickinson that produced Blue
The
Oyster
Bruce,
Cult.
right.
Couple months ago, Jeff and I were, we have a Vinyl Bang email, and some guy sent us this email saying he was going to send us a bunch of records, and we were like, "Fuck yeah!" And then he sent us a price tag to it, and I was like, "Hold on, pal." I thought this was for free, and this guy completely realized he fucked up, but out of the kindness of his heart, send us some free records. This is from a band called Merked and Malicious Algorithm, which is it's a split by these two bands. Um, this is a awesome splattery green record. I got this, and I spun it a couple times. It's really fucking good grindcore. I think this record would go better in my co-host collection. So at some point, uh, when this snowstorm passes, I can send it to him. Um,
Excuse me.
another album by this band, Merked. Uh, Good stuff. I'm not shitting on this at all. I only want to share the wealth with Jeff because he is my co-host, and if somebody's going to send me something for free, he should have it too. Um, this is a really cool looking splatter. I love that side. Um, yeah, some free grindcore from some awesome. I think the name of the label was Enemy of the Goat. Hey, thank you to whoever sent this to us. Appreciate it. Like I will never say no to free records. Um, this album is actually really fucking good. I cannot wait to share it with my co-host. Um, this is an album that when Blake Harrison passed away, I was looking for this, and his girlfriend Lindsay straight up told me she took it. If she didn't take it, I believe his nephews took it. It's a punk band called DI. Horse bites, dog cries. What a fucking cover. My best. We used to come home from bars all the time, late night. Blake would be drunk, and he would always put this on. I got the transparent green vinyl. Um, my best memory of this listening to this album was when we came home from the Pig Destroyer weekend in Baltimore. Blake put this on and started singing "Pervert Nurse" to Jeff's wife, who happens to be a nurse. Last but not least, uh, again, I'm pretty obsessed with listening to Queensryche a lot lately. I finally got to see them live back in December. This is Mind Crime at the Moore Theater in Seattle, Washington. So it's Operation Mind Crime Part 1 and Part 2. I've never checked out Part 2. It came out on Music on Vinyl. I could not successfully remove the sticker, so it is number 2,533 of 3,500. Um, Pretty cool looking. This is the cover here. Jeff Tate before he left the band. It's his 4 records, and it is on this cool Bloody Mary red vinyl. Um, I spun this once. Pretty cool to have. Um, I Yeah, Queensryche, big deal to me. Love this fucking band. Happy to have that in my collection. And that is it for new shit this week.
Geoff Tate.
Yeah, he is out touring with a new band, and they're just called I think it's Jeff Tate's Mind Crime, but they're touring Operation Mind Crime in its entirety. And when they
Mhm.
play the song "Sweet Sister Mary," he has his daughter come out and sing the female vocals part of that song, which I think is incredible. I think if you have a kid, it'd probably be a great thing to do is perform music live with your one of your children. So yeah, that is that. Almost a little shy of 2 hours here.
That's all right. We can do a 2 episode thing and give us another episode. We'll split it up at the load. We'll split it up at the where we have vinyl and where we don't have vinyl.
Like the first couple minutes of that episode, we're just going to be talking about records. So thank you everybody for tuning in this week for these very long episodes. Well, thank you everybody for watching. We will see you all next week.
All right. See you guys.
Final thing,